I'm a trombone player that has made multiple millions of dollars online, created seven-figure companies, and helped other musicians create seven-figure companies. And I want to share with you how you can make this work in your life. So the first step that you need to identify is, what is the problem you're solving? Who is the audience? Where are they at? Where do they want to go? And how are you going to get them there? And then once you do that, then you want to construct what's called a big domino statement. And it's essentially, if I can make audience believe that path is best way to desired future and the best way to get there is through my offer name, all objections become irrelevant and they must invest. And then for the path, you need to figure out what is a new opportunity I can take them on and prop it up as a new way. And then you want to write out all the old ways that you could possibly think of and throw rocks at them. Once you do that, we want to reach out to the really what we call the lowest hanging fruit, which would essentially be like existing customers, and go behind the scenes and say, I have something that I'm going to put out into the world. And before it goes public, I'd like to know what you think about it before I do. You got a moment for a chat, you get them on a chat, and you have a conversation with them and you transition to an offer. And the way you transition into this offer is you say, look, here's the deal. When I announce this to the public, it's going to be X dollars. However, I'm looking for case studies. I'm looking for case studies that are going to really grow this business that I'm doing. And in exchange for those case studies, I'm going to hook you up if you're ready to go right now. So if you can make a decision right now and you can promise that you're going to give me a good case study I can use in my marketing, I'm going to save you a substantial amount. And instead of X, it's going to be blank. Boom. So you close some deals right there. So then that way you don't even need the case studies at the beginning, because that's the whole point, is you're looking for case studies when you frame it like that. So then you work with those customers, you get them really great results to make them absolutely crush it. I recommend that you have a premium priced service, because this is going to allow you to have some nice cash in your business. It's going to allow you to really grow the rest of your company and serve the rest of the markets if you so desire. However, we start with a premium, and this is not inventing anything new. A lot of companies do this. They'll start with a premium product like Tesla did. They started with the Roadster. They serve the premium offer, and then they serve the rest of the markets. From there, what you need to do is you need to study how to do webinars. And the webinar is the most powerful sales tool in the world. It has the ability to fix any broken process whatsoever. I've been in situations where I've done one webinar and in a day made almost $500,000 from one webinar. And it's not just what you think a webinar may be, where people will say like, oh, like the webinar is just, teach them and they give them value and then they'll come back. You give them value only if it supports the big domino. So remember I talked about the big domino? I like to imagine that you're in a courtroom and you got to prove your case to the jury. And the jury is your audience. And when you prove your case to the jury correctly, they vote with their credit card. And we do that by breaking down any false beliefs that they have about how this could work for them. And so what you want to do is you prop up your path as a new way. We throw rocks at all of the old ways. And every single slide, every single word you say in your webinar, you say, did this support the domino? And if it didn't, don't put it in there. And if it did, put it in there. So you get really good at webinars. What I did was I transcribed a ton of webinars, just like I did trombone players, and I transcribed them, and only ones that made millions of dollars, because I wanted to study the best, just like I wanted to study the best musicians in the world when I was learning music and trombone. So I just applied the same thing in marketing, and I absorbed it, and I digested it, and I lived and breathed it, and I got my own voice, and I got my own style, and I learned from the best though. And then what happens is you put together the webinar, and then you need to understand like how to do a transition from the value, how to then give them a call to action. So then you need to learn how to do sales. And then when you're doing sales, you want to realize that to close deals is to ask questions. So you almost want to be like a doctor. So the way a doctor is, how they ask questions and they diagnose. And then once they diagnose, they give the prescription, and the prescription is your offer. And that's exactly how you got to treat the calls. If you do it correctly, you should close at least one out of 4 or 5 people you talk to. And then I recommend to charge no little than $5,000. Start there. That's a premium offer. And you go from there. You got the webinar written. You're going to perform it live first, okay? Because that's where you're going to see the energy. You're going to feel the energy. And then when you perform it live, you're going to see what some people's questions and concerns are in real time, and it's going to refine your sales process. And keep in mind, your sales process, you're always going to be refining it. You're always going to listen to people. You're always going to see what the market says. Like I always tell everyone, I didn't write my webinars. You guys wrote my webinars. Listen to people, and they will help you build your business. Then from there, you can take the recording and you can put it on demand. Now, historically, live webinars will convert higher just because there's like an energy inside the room when everyone's there live. And then once you know it converted live, what you could do is then you can run traffic to it, put an on-demand version where people can just opt in, and it will convert. It's just not going to convert as high as the live one, but we make up with it in volume, and as long as we know our numbers, we're good. And then what's happening in this point is you're building up one of the two greatest assets of your company. The first greatest asset is the webinar. You can fix any broken issue with any company with a great webinar. And I look at all these services all around, you use whatever service you talk to, and I always think, and they get you on a call and everything, and I realize all of their issues could be solved if they just knew how to do webinars and had us watch a webinar before we spoke to them. And it would address all the questions, and they would convert way more customers. And then the email list is key. The bigger your list, the bigger your business. So what's cool about all of this is you're actually building up the asset of the email list simultaneously as you're running traffic to the webinar, because the lead magnet is to the email list. So it's the most beautiful lead magnet possible is the webinar. Okay. The next thing you need to understand is how to get good at paid advertising and how to know your numbers and how to track them. And, I was never the best at, I was never too into mathematics. I'll just be upfront about it. I was always in the band room practicing the trombone. I just wasn't too passionate about it. I bet if I put some effort into it, I would have been pretty good at it. However, my mind was in the music world. It all changed though when I understood business is just simple math and human psychology. So the human psychology part of it is the webinar part. The simple math part is the running ads part. And then what happens is you just know your numbers. And when you know your numbers, you can start to scale these businesses. And you start to know, well, I put $1 in and I get 4 back. I get X amount of dollars back. And then it's just a numbers game at that point. And you start to track and grow your business through data. That's how powerful it is. And if you guys have those skills, email list, webinar, know how to run ads, you're never going to be broke ever again the rest of your life. It's just how it is. And this is what I believe with my heart, that these are the most powerful tools in existence right now. And if you do want to see a webinar that has crushed it and made multiple 7 figures, we have ours. You can watch it in the description here. I'll show you that one. And there's other resources there that will help you out. I have a free group too and everything. If you got value in this, all I ask is for a little like, subscribe, and let us know your biggest takeaway in the comments. I appreciate it. And I'm going to keep giving you guys my little nuggets that I've learned on this journey of entrepreneurship. And, my mission in life is I already know how to do all this, guys. I just want to share with as many musicians as possible and show them what you can do in this time period. Because I know what it's like, trying to figure out how to really scrape by. And I was in a situation before where I had many, many roommates. I was on unemployment before. I lived on a couch before. I had to sell my prized possession of a trombone because I couldn't pay the rent, and I regretted it to this day. I don't want that for any other musicians. We are too valuable in society to have lives like that. So I'm on a mission to make sure that no musician is ever in a situation where they can't thrive. And that's really the mission of my company. And I appreciate you guys. Take care.